Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining the webinar today around adding intelligence to site search. My name is Yarin Negri, and I'm Director of Marketing at Intlock. And I'm accompanied today by my colleague Ephraim from ASYS Consulting. Good afternoon, Ephraim. How are you?
Good afternoon, Yaron. I'm pleased to be here.
Wonderful. All right, everyone. Let's move on. So Intlock and ASYS, maybe just a brief introduction to two companies. Intlock is SharePoint ISV focused on web analytics in general and specifically in search. And today during the webinar we'll talk about some of the ways we can enhance and optimize search with the help of reporting. And then Ephraim, maybe some background about ASYS.
Yeah, ACIS Consulting. We're a Toronto-based information management and consulting company. We've been in business for quite some time, and we are a systems integrator that specializes in search and knowledge discovery solutions. We've been engaged in several complex project implementations, helping our customers maximize their revenues and return on their search investments. And we're delighted to be able to share some of that information with you today.
Perfect. So in today's webinar, it'll be about a 40-minute webinar. At the end of it, we'll have a Q&A. And if you have any questions throughout the webinar, just feel free to enter them in the question box. And then towards the end, we'll be happy to answer all your questions. Furthermore, this webinar is being recorded. So if you want to share it with your colleagues, we'll be sending an email to everyone who participated or signed up to the webinar. And in that email, we'll send a link to the recording so that you can review this webinar as well. Having done the introductions, we can jump right into the good content and let Ephraim start out with why search matters.
Yeah, thanks, Aaron. Yeah, what I'd like to be able to do is to start by discussion why search matters, so that we can put this whole discussion into context. As you know, search is becoming the de facto standard for content access, where customers are using search to make a buy decision on a website. About 90% of businesses actually report search as the primary navigation tool on their websites. You may have heard recently about the Cyber Monday, where customers go online to make purchases, and the headline there was that reportedly the volume of transactions grew by 30% from last year to this year. That was in fact quite surprising even to data tracking company Comscore, which had optimistically predicted about 20% growth and about 1.5 billion in transaction, and it looks like that has been exceeded. And the bulk of this growth is reportedly coming from department stores, which increased about 43% from the same year, from last year. And that basically compares to about, or that implies about 122 million Americans shopping on Cyber Monday. So it's quite a significant trend that we're seeing, growth trend that we're seeing. And also, not only just from a purchase perspective, but also from support perspective, 70% of call centers users have been to the website first before going into making phone calls. And so there's a significant implication there as well. Now, from a business challenge perspective, although we're seeing this large growth and a lot of transactions, the size of the online transaction, although it's growing, there are millions of websites who are vying for a share of these dollars that are spent online, and many companies will report very low return on their investment dollars compared to their expectations, and the result in many cases comes down to poor search, which is resulting in a loss of market share and brand loyalty. Studies have shown that 30% of visitors who will come to the website will abandon the website after a single futile clicks. And what that means is after 3 clicks, basically all of the customers that you paid a lot of dollars to bring to the website have basically left the website. And so from a support perspective as well, when customers come online looking for information, if they are not able to find that information, then they will make phone calls to call center, costing companies an estimate of $20 per phone call, and that could be quite significant if there are a very large number of customers calling to the call centers. So we believe a great search experience on a website matters very much because it can help companies improve customer satisfaction, market share, and reduce call center costs as well. Customer satisfaction with online search experience is a critical whether you are a government website, a bank, or an e-commerce website. So our presentation today provides a high-level overview of the kinds of tools and capabilities that are required in order to help improve the search experience on a website in order to help you meet your business results. As with all similar complex business challenges, search optimization is a continuous improvement cycle that will have to start with a monitoring of your website results to identify weak performance areas compared to your expectations. A detailed analysis using various actionable reports and statistical data is then required to identify gaps and failure points that are resulting in business outcomes and abandonment of search interaction. The search experience is then adjusted and optimized to address these identified gaps. I will now turn it over to Yaron to go over the monitoring and analysis aspects of this exercise, and I will come back later to cover search optimization, and we'll also show some real-life examples of companies implementing these optimization principles. Yaron, take it away.
Perfect. So some good examples that Ephraim showed. We really only have a few moments to capture the attention of our audience on the website. And we also know that search is one of the keys on any website. People often go there. The first thing they do is search for a product they're looking for. And we have to make sure that we're on top of our games. We have to make sure that we're showing the right results to users. And more than that, we have to make sure that we're showing the results that help our visitors convert on our website. And as Ephraim mentioned, we see 3 steps continuing to be used to optimize search on the website. And we started by monitoring how search is being used, monitoring what search phrases are being used the most, what search phrases are helping to convert users on our website to help push them to the purchase. That's all during the monitor phase. We'll then analyze and understand what keywords are helping convert the high number of users, where are the highest level of abandonment, and so forth, and then continue into optimize. But if we break these 3 steps down, we start out in monitor. The first thing we're going to do is define the goals for our website. What is it we want? What actions do we want our users to take? And that can be either purchasing a product, it can be downloading something like a white paper, signing up for a webinar. It can also be things like customer satisfaction. And there are different ways that we can define goals on our site based around customer satisfaction, and these are really the main things we're going to monitor. We're going to monitor if people are achieving these goals and what leads them to achieve the goals versus what leads them to abandon our website. Once we have monitored how the site is being accessed and how search is being used, we can go back and analyze the data and better understand exactly what actions are being performed by our users, and do things like analyze the user interaction with our search. We can understand the different conversion rates for different search phrases. So if we know that for a specific search term there are let's say 10 different results, we can understand for each result which one is helping to convert more users, and therefore place one of the result with the highest conversion rate at the top of the results. Same thing for abandonment. If we know there's a specific search term that people are abandoning our site after searching for, we can see if we can change the content for those search terms to help decrease abandonment, and eventually also create complete profiles for our users, and based on what they're searching for, understand what they're interested in, and then have our organization and our sales team know how to better engage with them based on A, how they're interacting with on our website as a whole, and B, specifically, how they're interacting with search and what they're searching for. On this slide, we can see some of the many reports that we can provide to help analyze what's going on within the website and within search. So from things like search pages, so we can find out what are the pages people might not be able to find the content they're looking for on and need to use search, or what are the actual search phrases being used. We can also see here reports like failed searches, and here you can define what's a failed search. It might be any search that retrieves 0 results in when being searched for, and so we can go and analyze all the different phrases that are bringing back no results and help add the content there to make sure that our customers are able to find the content that they're looking for. And then if I divide it or go into a little more details about it, so in Web Analytics we can really monitor every interaction our users are having on the website, and that includes some of the reports that I mentioned on the previous slide. And we can actually track everything from search to adding different products to a shopping cart, to the next step of actually purchasing the product, and see how all those steps connect and how they actually might have started out with search, and kind of analyze our search terms based on the additional actions within the website. And then, as I mentioned earlier, we can actually provide detailed profiles about our users and show not only what they searched for on the site, but how they arrived at our website, what content they're interested in, if they abandoned their cart in the middle of the purchase cycle, and so really be able to give a complete profile for our users and also see exactly what content they're searching for and how search influences their purchasing or what they're actually doing on our website. And then to conclude the analyzing area, here in the slide we've added some of the questions that we can help understand. So some of these things we already talked about, but to go over it quickly, we can understand what keywords are our users using in the website. We can understand how the keywords impact purchase or abandonment. We can understand what results are being presented after each search, and again, show for each result which ones are helping to convert a higher number of users. And I think the bottom line here, or the main goal, is to provide actionable information so we can actually take actions after we view these metrics to know how we can improve our customer satisfaction, how we can improve and enhance the conversion rate, and how we can bring abandonment to a minimum. So that kind of goes over the first 2 steps of monitoring and analyzing, and now the third step, of course, to optimize search as well.
Yeah, let me, thanks, Yaron. Let me take over from here with regards to optimizing the search experience. Implies profile matching, content placement, and user interaction are among the key things that you can do on a website. Imagine if you were a manager of a large department store where you have lots and lots of customers coming to the store. They would browse around, and if they were just to walk away without buying anything, they would leave no information for you as to what is it that they were looking for and would be very difficult to try and understand exactly how to optimize this department store. Maybe it could be a multiple floors of merchandise that you have, and the challenge would be what content should I put in front of which user to maximize my sales opportunity. Now, in the search environment online, we have the tools and knowledge and information that users actually leave for us to analyze afterwards. Like Yarin was saying, they would come in, they would enter keywords, they would be browsing through the website to different sections of the website, and they would be clicking on some of the document links that are provided. And because we're able to track all of these, if we are able to intelligently analyze the statistical information that's contained inside there, then we can achieve a lot of knowledge and intelligence that would help us continuously optimize the search experience for the user. And so profile matching is one way to do that. Is if we know, for example, if it's a residential customer from Ontario who's calling, we're able to know that on the website. Or if it's a small business client from British Columbia, for example, we have that information. And so knowing that information, the question is how should we present the search results, and how should we place the content on the page, and what kind of user interaction is appropriate. And that's where an intelligent search would come into play to enable us to do that. Can you click next page for me, please?
Sure.
So from a user interaction perspective, we need to go beyond just the search box. In other words, it's not enough anymore for users to submit a keyword and there would be just 10 blue links for them to click on. Users expect more these days, and they need to be enticed, and they have very, very fleeting interest on the website. They come in, they look for information, they want to get it right away, and so we can present to them, for example, what's known as best bets, meaning if this keyword has been entered by a customer with this context, for example, if it's a residential consumer and they enter the keyword phone, we can offer them something that in the search result as a best bet, saying this is probably the one that you would be most likely to be interested in. We can also include visual best bets. In that case, what it means is not only are you providing them with the link, but you can also include images and banners that would catch their attention, that would be interactive and also entertaining, so that they can click on those, because we do have some sense of the context of that user. We could also, based on which section of the website or which tab they are clicking, we can also know whether this is a residential customer, a corporate customer, or if the person is actually looking for support information rather than for buy information. One of the more annoying experiences that I had personally is that if I'm already a customer that have already purchased a product and I'm looking for support information, at that point I'm not really interested in finding information about how fantastic the product was. My interest in that specific case is where do I find information that would help me get to the support on how to use the product. Next page, please. So in order to be able to do that, what you need is a search environment and a search platform that is able to do content processing of all of the documents that you have. One of the challenges is, of course, you're dealing with thousands, tens of thousands, and potentially even millions of documents on the website. It's very difficult to try and identify each and every document and say this is for support, this is for marketing, this is for customer who is looking for this kind of information. You need technology to actually process through the content and be able to enable you to find the specific information that you're looking for. So, so one of the first component is called, for example, format conversion. And in the format conversion, the search engine is able to identify what document is it that's being submitted in the website. Is this a PDF document? Is this a web page? Or is it a Word document? And so the format conversion would take each document and do that. And the next one is it can do tokenization as well and detection of what language this is in. And we have lemmatization, which it can actually go into each document and find the root word so that it can expand it. So that if a user, for example, enters the keyword books, lemmatization would also insert the keyword book so that the plural and the singular version of the document can be found. And subsequently, through the pipeline, you could go through and process doing entity extraction. You could do date normalization within the document, and you could do additional processing as well so that a document vector is generated. What this means is from the document that's being indexed, the search engine has actually gleaned information and created a vector of the knowledge and what content and what concepts are included in this document. And so then that information can be used to generate the information that we're looking for. It's used to categorize the document. It's used to create the context matching that we were talking about. So now we are able to say if a user is coming from this context, from this background, then based on the information that I have in these documents, I'm going to only show them contents and document that has the following attributes. And also there are additional capabilities that the search engine has that you can rely on to achieve those kinds of results. So here's an example, for example, of what I mean by automatic metadata extraction that you can use subsequently. So this one-page document is being processed by the search engine, and entities are being extracted from it so that you've got technology-related keywords that was found, such as fiber optic, HD, 3D ready, and apps. Those are grouped as technology-related keywords that are related to this document. With product-related information as well, it detected that there is fiber TV, and TVR was listed under the product category. This is being generated automatically by the search engine. If it detected a company name that it can match within its database, Bell and Facebook, for example, and also offering type. So all of these things were extracted from the document on automated basis, and now I can have additional knowledge pool that I can use it for targeting of documents and matching it to a specific user in that specific context. So if it's a support type document, I would know it in here. If it's a product offering type, I would know it in here, and then that's where you can do a selection of what kind of content do I present to the specific user. It's all about matching content to the user in that given context. And of course that context is always changing, and the content is always changing as well, and the volume of content is very large, and you're orchestrating all of these changes at the same time. And in addition to that, as Yarin said earlier, you're also tracking all of this interaction and then looking at the reports, looking at the statistics, and going back and saying, okay, now here's what we should be adjusting the experience. So we also have additional capabilities in our toolbox, and one of them is rank profile matching. where if you're looking at a keyword that has been entered, you can identify the quality of the document based on the content that's inside the document, or the site, or the URL depth, and also who it's linked to. So there are many ways of deriving whether a given document and its quality. For example, if it's being placed as a landing page on your website, uh, you might be giving it a higher quality attribute to it. If it contains keywords and descriptions and brochure types of information about your product, you can assign it higher quality attributes, and based on those, you can then rank the search results that would be coming up. And query authority means the popularity of the document, who is accessing it. And so if I enter a keyword opening an account on a bank, and the search result number 4 is the one that's being clicked more and more times, then I can assign higher priority to that document and bring it towards the top. And in the report, in the analytics report as well, that I have to be able to see that the user is actually clicking the search result number 3. Unfortunately, what we see in many websites is product managers and sales teams, they have no clue what keyword was entered and what search results are being clicked. Was it in the first page? Is it in the second page? Is it in the third page? And so that tracking becomes extremely important to customer satisfaction. As we said earlier, every unnecessary click, you're losing 30% of the visitors to that website, and so it becomes quite important that the more authoritative and the higher quality document come towards the top. And the managed property is referring to the metadata that was extracted from each of these documents. Those can be used also for drilling down within the search results. Let me show you some real-world examples that I like to talk about to illustrate the theoretical discussions that we just had. The first one I want to talk about, for example, is a Samsung website that's using the fast search engine as a backend. When you go to the landing page, clearly they feel that the Galaxy S3, for example, is one of the products that they want to promote without even having to search. And they also have different sections here where they're highlighting the Samsung Smart TV, for example. Now, because these are very large websites, they can show the most popular content that they're trying to promote on their landing page, but users would come to this website with specific needs. And so if I were to enter Samsung Galaxy S3 in the top here in the search box, I am already explaining, I'm already divulging my interest. This is what I came to this website for. Can you please provide me with information about the Samsung Galaxy S3? And so this is very explicit information I provided. And so Samsung here, what they have done is they then said, here's the best bet. This is the best match. And they're showing us a result of the Samsung Galaxy image along with user rating information that they get from their social media, for example, content. They have product information, and also they're here wise enough to say if you're already an owner, then you may be interested in the support. And so all of that information related to Samsung Galaxy S3 is being presented to me in a very pleasing, easy to understand way, and all of it organized so that I'm just engaged now to just click and say, if I was looking to buy the product, here's where you should go. If you're looking to look for support, here's what it is. And also the user rating, immediately it will give you the information that you're looking for. On the left-hand side, I can drill down within the search results. And below here, there are the traditional search results also showing 1 to 9 of 134 other matching results, just in case you were looking for some specific area that's nuanced about the Samsung Galaxy. And so that's one example of a best bet way, search based on search best practices to present best bet. Here's a recent screenshot of Cyber Monday is what Best Buy is indicating here. And so I used a more generic Dell laptop as a query on that website. And in this case, I did not specify Dell Inspiron or a very specific product number. I just said I'm looking for Dell laptop. And so they can now glean from that information that I'm looking for choices in terms of the product that I'm looking for. And so I am presented with, from their perspective, a best bet, which is a new product, Dell Inspiron, including the pricing information. The search engine is able to look for brochure material and match it with from another database of the cost information and present it in a way that's easy to understand. It shows whether or not this product is available online, and whether and also if there is additional availability information, then they will present it here. Now, because I provided a generic query term, they are offering me here to narrow down within my search results based on categories, based on current offers. Am I looking for sale, for example, or refurbished even, and the status, and brands as well within what I'm looking for, and also based on customer rating. For example, if I'm looking for a product that many customers think this is one of the better computers, we're using that in the presentation of the search results. And this becomes very, very powerful because it's using social search attributes, gleaning that information, and the search engine is now collecting information from multiple sources to present me this summary, which is going to be very helpful in me making informed decisions. So I'm looking at information here from customer rating, from the social part of the website, from the database where they have the pricing information, and also from their documentation, from the marketing and sales documentation. And there's a visual best bet here on the right-hand side that is also offering me a related product, because they are, in this case, it's being assumed we're in the user or a consumer context. And another final example that I want to show is for a different website. This is a real estate listing company, and essentially what it does is they crawl websites from around UK of listings of real estate listings, and they organize it and aggregate it in a way that's very, very easy to find. And in here, it's showing actually the capability of entering a normal search, a normal natural language search, where I said I'm just looking for 2-bedroom apartment near London, and the search engine is able to understand and interpret that query, and it changed it here, 2 bedrooms or more, and it's an apartment as a keyword. It was able to glean that information, and it also understood that it was in London, and so I'm getting results for London. And it's showing me here, I don't know if you can see it, but it's showing me here a histogram of pricing that immediately tells me that a 2-bedroom apartment near London, the average or the mean or the mode, I guess most of the houses are in the 300K pound range, and I hardly will be able to find anything that's in the 100K from this, and then it drops off, and then towards the 1 million pound also there are additional properties near London. Having presented this, now I can interact without entering any additional search keywords. I can interact changing of the pricing by just dragging this and saying I'm only comfortable with this pricing range, and I could just adjust that. I can adjust the location, number of bedrooms, the property types, and price changes as well. And so search now becomes an interactive information provider that's focused exactly on what I'm looking for, and it's allowing me to slice and dice through the content in order to arrive at a specific buy decision. and it's keeping me engaged until I arrive at that one specific location that I'm looking for. So what we presented here is a way to show that search and analytics, when they're tied side by side, can be used as a very powerful tool to retain your customers and to engage them and to help you achieve your objectives. Back to you, Aaron.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you, Ephraim. That was some great examples of how websites are utilizing search, and then really going back to the cycle we spoke about earlier, where we can not only provide search on our website, but also understand how it's being used, understand what search terms or what specific results are converting more users, and that way optimize our website and optimize search. So I think those were some excellent examples. Now, if you're looking for more information about what we've spoken up till now about the 3 steps in the cycle, and how you can utilize search and optimize search for your site, you can find both myself and Ephraim's contact information here at the bottom of this slide. I see we have a few questions from our audience, so we'll take the next few minutes to answer some of these questions. But again, if you have any other questions over the next few days or weeks, you can feel free to contact us. And of course, if you'd like to schedule a demonstration for your team or maybe a short phone call to discuss your requirements, both myself and Ephraim would be more than happy to schedule a conversation. And you can just either send us a chat to ask for a phone call or contact us in the next few days. So a few questions that we have. Mark is asking, let's take a look. Are the search and analytics designed for websites only, or can they be used for intranets and extranets? Okay, so Ephraim, I think throughout the webinar, we've both been talking a lot about websites, but the key question here, can they use the search engine and the analytics for intranets as well?
Absolutely, yes. So it can. The solution that we've been talking about can be used for public-facing information presentation and analytics and searching. This can also be used for information within the intranet, where it can be used for discovery of experts within the company, what topics they may be interested in, who or what information is stored in which location within the company. And so yes, it can be used, both of these can be used for public facing and within the intranet setting as well.
Okay, excellent. So I think search really is becoming a key both in public facing websites and intranets to help employees find content and so forth. So definitely Mark, something that we can use for all environments, regardless if they're internal behind the firewall, extranet or internet sites. These products can work with all those environments. Next question is from Tom, and maybe this is a follow-up question. Can this tool be used on-premise or behind the firewall?
Yes, absolutely. It can be used behind the firewall. Fast for SharePoint can be deployed in the SharePoint environment, for example. And of course, the Interlock product can be deployed. It's the SharePoint marketing tools. And those could be integrated and configured so that it stays behind the firewall in your secure environment for employees to access as they are serving their customers' needs.
All right, and in that case, Ephraim, the entire search database and everything would be hosted locally. There would be no need to kind of share that information with third parties. Is that correct?
That's correct, yes. It would be behind the firewall and would be only shared only on an as-needed basis if they have to share with other partners. All
right, very good. So Tom, I hope that answers your question. Of course, if there are any follow-ups, just send a short chat in the GoToWebinar box. Let's see. Next, Amanda is asking if this works specifically for SharePoint or can be used with other CMS platforms. So I'll quickly answer that one. So while we are commonly working with SharePoint, these tools that you're seeing here, both the search aspects and the web analytics, are not limited to SharePoint. And we understand that many customers are using a mixture of technologies. So we see many customers that they might use SharePoint for their intranet and extranet, but then a different CMS platform like WordPress or Drupal and so forth for their public-facing website. What's unique here is you can actually use these technologies that we've shared with you today on all these platforms, so that you don't have to purchase a different search engine for your different environments or a different analytics engine for each CMS platform, but rather use a single tool for search for all three environments, regardless of if they're SharePoint or not, and same thing for the analytics. Using a single deployment of our tool, you can actually monitor the usage around your SharePoint intranet and your public-facing website, which might be a completely different platform. All right, so that's
excellent.
The questions I see for now. Again, if anyone has any additional questions, Ephraim and I will stay around for a few more minutes. Just enter them in the chat box. But if you have any other questions, feel free to contact us. We'd be happy to schedule a demonstration and discuss your requirements. And for now, I thank everyone for joining. Ephraim, thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
Wonderful. And have a very good day, everyone.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.